So it counts to 1, but then like it'll pop like you on the screen or me on the screen and not both. And hello, webcam, focus on me. There we go. Anyways, I'll put that down. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Transcending Humanity. This is episode, as our guest Emily said, do we have to call it 45? But I realize in these episodes I never introduced myself, like, ever. So I'm Vanessa Joy, also known as Vanessa, and I am the person that kind of just took over the show, and I just run it now. So because, you know, control freak and shit like that. As a reminder, the views and opinions of anyone and everyone on the show are their own and not their respective employers, organizations, what have you. I would also like to, as usual, remind everybody the Patreon store is there. Shit, I forgot to pull up the names of our new patrons. I'm sorry. I will have to make a list. I think I put it on like an intro of the YouTube though. So like right here, hopefully that'll be popping up saying thank you because I'm scatterbrained as fuck. And merch store, I finally got one piece. And of course my camera doesn't like it. There we go. And on the tag, I'm not sure if it's going to show up or not, but where is it? Right here. I don't know how well you can read it, but instead of a tag, it says fuck conservatives. So, which is legendary. Anyways, I've been just yammering on, and poor Emily's sitting there like, what the fuck did I get myself into?
I didn't know if you wanted me live responding or just waiting my turn.
You can do whatever you want. So, but your face was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I ramble. And anyways, our guest, my guest, whatever, this week is Emily Aborn, right?
You said it right. Yeah.
Okay, so Acorn with a B. That's easy enough to remember. And so I'm going to let her do the introductions rather than try to introduce herself. So Emily, give us the 2-minute everything.
Darn, I don't even have like any swag to show the camera or anything. Thanks for having me. This is so fun. I'm looking forward to it. And sorry, I didn't know if you wanted me like responding to what you were saying.
No.
Okay, I'm like, she's doing her thing. I'm Emily Aborn, as aforementioned, and I'm a copywriter. I'm also a podcast guest, podcast host, which is how we met. We met through a podcast collective that we're in. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, I really like what I do. And I had this like epiphany today where sometimes I think if you like what you do for work, you feel like you have to make some sort of excuse or you have to make up some reason that like, oh, but it's not good all the time. But actually, I just like it all the time.
Yeah.
I just like it.
I get what you mean. I'm like that with photography. The only thing I don't like is when home sellers don't turn on the air conditioning. But yeah, I'm just a whiner. So anyways, go on. Sorry.
So I think that's it. I don't know. I live in New Hampshire. I went to school in Ohio.
I did. That's where I am.
The Football Hall of Fame, Canton, Ohio.
I'm in Massillon right now.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah.
Right down the road.
Yeah, cool. Small world.
Very small world.
Yeah.
There was a chocolate shop in Canton, North Canton, and I used to tutor for the family. It was like a really well-known family, but I used to tutor their daughter like every week.
So chocolate shops still exist? Because I like chocolate.
I'm not sure, but it was so good. Like they would send me home with giant boxes of like chocolate covered cashews and like turtles, and it was so amazing.
Okay, I still would not be able to handle being around kids like that, but when chocolate's involved, it would help, you know. And well, so Emily. I'm going to kind of go by our little outline that I sent you there. So
please do. It'll make us both feel great.
Yeah. Tell us, what to you is copywriting?
That's a good question, because actually some people think that copywriting is like that little C that's at the bottom of a piece of, like the bottom of a publication or at the beginning of a book. That's copyright. That is not what I do. I do like the copy that people find on websites and also in their marketing materials. So I say that I do content and copy because here's the differentiation. Like for business owners, copy typically is written with a goal of like getting you to take an action. So I'm trying to either sell you something, get you to contact me. Like I want you to do something from the copy that I'm laying out. Content, and sometimes they intertwine, but content is more like the kind of like nurturing, educational, relationship building, community based, sharing, that kind of thing. So I do both because I think that they're both really, really important for our businesses. But like what lights me up, I think, is when somebody wants to get a little crazy with their website and let their like personality out and just like have a little bit of fun and step outside the boundaries, I guess. I like that. So
yeah. Do you ever copyright your copywriting? Like the C or copywriting C?
That's funny. Yeah. And technically it is copyrighted. Like if you go to the bottom of a website, you'll see like copyright. But the website designer takes the kind of credit for it, but they usually do like tie back to me in some ways, sometimes.
Well, that's nice.
I put my name at the bottom of my little brother's website the other day because I did the whole like layout and everything for him. I'm like, I'm putting my name.
You should. It's not by Squarespace. It's by Emily.
Exactly.
Squarespace, not a sponsor, but they could be.
20% off. We can get you a code.
Yeah, no shit. I send them a lot of money because I have Transcending Humanity site and my personal photography site. So I'm sending them like, what, $65 a month?
I don't think it's cheap. Like it's not. Oh man, Squarespace really. I used to be on Squarespace and it's not inexpensive and it's not great customer service. Like they kind of leave you hanging. So
really,
I don't love Squarespace, but
okay, well, Squarespace, if you're listening, I will take your money. You need to make shit right with Emily because
remember, the guest does not endorse, doesn't express your views.
It's I'm happy to take people's money. I will sell out pretty easily. But I enjoy it. I've never had to use their customer service though. So
yeah,
the only thing that was annoying was I had a period. I don't know if you listened to the previous shows, but I had a really dark period where I don't want to do the show anymore. And I deleted the website and then immediately regretted it. So I reactivated it, but they charged me full price again to reactivate it. I'm like, shit, but whatever. So lesson learned, if you get snippy and you want to delete your website from Squarespace, don't do that.
Take a pause. You know what? Flip a coin, and whatever the coin comes back with, if you're happy with the result, do what the coin says. If you're not happy with the result, don't do what the coin says.
Fuck the coin.
Then you can test it out. You can test out.
These words of wisdom. Absolute words of wisdom.
It's like how I have a hard time making decisions. You know what I mean? Like I'm like, I don't know until I feel it. So then I'll flip a coin and then I'm like, oh, I don't like that response. So then I know how
do it again. Exactly. You do it again and again and again. Yeah. I love that. You were, I saw something on your website, where like you're talking about the copy and content, but like you struggle to write your own copy on your own website. And I feel that so hard. Like the Transcending Humanity website, like the main site itself has almost no text on it at all. Cause I used to have so much trouble just trying to come up with a description for the show. Because the show is now kind of hard to describe. It used to be easier because it was mainly trans focused. Now it's all over the place. And so my description's pretty half-assed.
I had an idea for you. So if I were to ask you, like, what really is the heartbeat of what you want to do in the world? Like, what's like, I need to do this thing. I need to bring this into the world.
Look at these deep questions. Fuck, I was not expecting it. Like, usually I just do Bender from Futurama, kill all humans, but I want to make enough of a mark in the world in a good way that whatever I've done has helped more people than I've hurt.
Okay.
That's my goal. Be don't know exactly how I'm going to be achieving it in the long run, but I do what I can. So.
And then, like, what is the message you want to bring to life on this show?
Kill all humans?
I mean, maybe something a little that entices people to listen a little more.
Oh, well, I mean, a lot of people watch Futurama.
You know what? Yeah, so. I think actually, if you just put "kill all humans," I think a lot of people, you get a lot of listeners. You should try that. Report back to us all and let us know how it went.
Well, like Susie Gizzard, one of her most famous bits is "Cake or Death." You know, you hear "Cake or Death," it's immediately Susie Gizzard.
I should warn you, I know like zero about all pop culture, which is another story for another day. But so I know nothing about what you're talking about.
Oh, she's a comedian.
Okay.
She still does sometimes go by Eddie Izzard. I don't know if that name rings a bell for you either, but
yeah.
Google Eddie Izzard.
Okay.
It's amazing.
This is the truth. I was extremely sheltered as a child and like didn't wake up to being unsheltered until I was like 30 something. And then I had a lot of catching up to do. Like I got a lot to take in. You know, I'm just like figuring out who Taylor Swift is, basically.
Emily, you're talking to a trans girl that came out when she was 40. So I feel you. It's, like that veil has been ripped away from your face. You're like, whoa, where am I? This is weird.
Exactly. There's a lot to take in.
Yeah. Back with like on my website, the copy, like, because Squarespace has like an AI writer thing, and I'm like, fine, just do something. And I wrote one paragraph, like the about me paragraph is about me, but I did not have the wordsmith bug.
A client came to me recently. She's like, AI wrote this page for me. This is kind of like my brand's vibe. And I was like, oh my God, no, please no. Because it just sounds like everybody else. Like AI really likes the words like unlock, unleash, your inner potential, alignment. You know, like it loves those words. And I'm just like, please, we're all saying the same thing. So
I think I'm probably going to have to talk to you about writing copy for my sites because, they need some, like, usually I'm good at, like, I am a really good writer, but, like, when it comes to self-promotion, I think that's what you're talking about. Like, when you're writing your own copy, it's hard. Like,
it's hard,
really
and there's, like, so much we want to say, and it's like, how can I make sure that this makes sense? And, like, there's a lot of depth to probably what you want to say, like a lot of character and richness. And you're like, how do I put all of that into this one thing? So that's what I love. Like, I like listening to what people are saying when they're sharing their message and like, be like, okay, we're going under that. We're going deeper. Like, I want more, and let's peel back another layer of the onion. So that's like what I'm all about. But it is hard for me to even do with myself. Like, I feel in my heart things that I'm like, I don't know how to say this thing.
I know. It's hard.
It's too hard.
Yeah.
Feelings are too hard.
Well, and then you also have to have it short and concise.
I know.
But still get through your entire message because you only have people's attention span for, 7 seconds, if that. So, we'll have to,
we'll chat.
Yeah.
Welcome to Content with Character, the weekly podcast that'll give you the momentum you need to create content with more ease, clarity, and laughter. I'm your host, content copywriter Emily Aborn, and I'm all about unconventional marketing approaches. I believe in your big ideas, and I'm excited to help you share them in a way that's distinctly you.
Yeah. So how did you get into copywriting?
Okay, so that's fun. I won't take you all the way back to when I was a kid, but I really have wanted to be a writer since I was a little kid. Like that was my thing. I did the local newspaper, and I opened all of these businesses and wrote the flyers for them. That was always inside of me. But for some reason, because zero guidance, I went to school for health education and nutrition. And I was like, well, I'm going to do community health and nutrition and health coaching and stuff like that. So I followed that track for a decade. And then my husband and I actually opened a local retail shop where we sold, I don't know how to explain it, but sleep products and bedding that was non-toxic and organic. So it's a very, New Hampshire, I'll say this, because Ohio, we had this differentiator where I lived. New Hampshire was like this very like I want to say like kind of hippie, crunchy, natural minded. Like people drive like Priuses and Subarus and Volvos, you know, like all wearing Birkenstocks. So it was a good market for like organic bedding products. Okay. So we have this retail shop and we're running it. And I was miserable and he was kind of miserable. And one day, like 5 years into it, we woke up, pun intended, and we were like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So I had to sit down with like this business mentor and she's like, okay, what parts of your business do you really like? And what parts do you not like? And basically I was like, okay, I don't like working with people. I don't like being in the store. I don't like selling. I like all the marketing pieces and all the writing and like this stuff. So I did what you would do when you figure that out. I went and got my real estate license.
I have one of those too.
Like for 2 seconds. I'm like, okay, that was fun. I learned all about that and didn't employ that. And then I just kind of like, I started getting clients in this business before we had closed the other one. And so my husband's like, well, I think you should probably go get a real, you know, like a salary. Like we need like health benefits and a real job. And like, I was like, all right, well, let's just see if I can like build this thing up. If I get enough clients, then I'll focus on this for a little while. Then I'll look at real jobs. And like, it just kind of blew up and exploded. And I never went back. I was like, oh, darn, I have a business.
Oh, darn. That's fucking amazing.
So I've taken since then, I've like, you know, to be copywriting specific, like website versus just writing, you have to educate yourself a little bit and also take courses and gather more information. It's not just as easy, like, you know, like you don't just slap words onto a website. It's kind of like a specific way that you move about a site, specific ways that you make people feel, and like the psychological and sociological junk that goes into that. So that's my story. It's not very exciting. It's not like some eye-opening epiphany. But once it happened, I was like, okay, I've known this since I was like 5 years old. Like, why did no one tell me this? Why did no one say, little Emily, just go to school for writing or communications or journalism?
Well, you said you grew up in kind of a sheltered world. That's probably why, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't want a girl to be educated or whatever. Who knows? But, and Vanessa brings it down to the depressing side again. It kind of reminds me of like what I used to run a manufacturing company, and then I made the natural pivot to real estate photography. After being an Uber driver, and I worked for a car dealership for about 4 hours, and I delivered food and shit for a while. And I also got my real estate license, and that was a waste of time and money. Yeah, so.
But I mean, fun to learn about. Now you know, like, what an easement is. You know if you cross over your neighbor's yard in a certain way, it's fine or not fine. Fascinating. How close you are to the water.
Yeah. It did help with my photography business. Because I primarily do real estate photography. So, what you may love or hate this, but I wrote my first like big blog for my website, and I was teaching people. One of the number one things I run into as a real estate photographer are sellers that just, they don't know what to do when it comes to getting their house ready, because there's so much to think about and they're already super stressed. So I had been sending around just like a little PDF to my clients to send to their customers, but I'm like, you know what? I think it's time to actually put all this down. So I did a pretty long blog post, opened it with the Cliffs Notes, and then took a deep dive into how to get your house prepped. But for curiosity's sake, I did sorry, my tooth feels weird. I did
just one tooth?
Just one tooth, yeah, right here. It feels weird.
That's funny that you can feel your tooth.
It must be an autistic thing. I don't know. And my brain just died.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, Grammarly. So I'm curious to see like how it does. And so I signed up for a free trial of the Grammarly Pro because it's expensive. It's like $30 a month.
It is expensive.
Like they were going to charge me for a yearly. I'm like, no, don't do that. Go away. Cancel. But So I typed it in Grammarly and kind of let it do like some proofreading and stuff like that. And I was actually fairly impressed because it kept my words as they were for the most part, but it helped with like reducing redundancies and stuff like that. Because my problem is I write like I talk and I ramble a lot. So what are your thoughts on people using something like that for
No,
writing?
I love it. And I like Grammarly. I find that like sometimes it will edit something in a way when I'm like, well, I actually said it better. But most of the time I'm like you, like I have redundancies too, and I'll say like the same. And also the words, like there are words that we use like just and that and things that we just, sorry. How often do we say sorry for before like every single thing? It's like, just say you're going to be late. You don't need to say sorry. Say thanks for your patience. Like running 5 minutes late. Thanks for your patience. Not sorry, So words like, but that Grammarly, I don't think catches that. But words like just and that, like it will pull those out and be like, you don't really need that there. And I like that because we use too many words and we can be more concise when we, less is more, as they say. So I like Grammarly, and I think I don't use it as much, but I think Grammarly is also the one that gives you like a score of like how your affect is. So like, how many times were you positive? How many times did you use like heart-centered words versus head-centered words? Like, I love that. And my Google does that to me. And I'm like, ooh, look at all these happy, look at all these happy emails.
I mean, it's helpful. Like, when I was typing, you can ask it to do certain tones, like, creative, professional, conversational, that kind of stuff. Or, and so it'll kind of stick to that, but, it'll catch you if you start like writing something that like, has a negative connotation to it when you don't mean it. So, but it was interesting to know someone in the field, what they thought of it.
I have a friend who will put emails and such through like either ChatGPT or Gemini and be like, can you please make this sound like warmer and friendlier? Which I find funny because I always find AI to make me sound less warm and friendly. But I think it's where you're starting from, right? Like it's like whatever your baseline is, there you go.
Yeah, if your baseline's already, I mean, because you're a professional at this shit, you know what you're doing. So if your baseline is already, like it'd be fun to say, okay, take this happy, cheerful text and then make it depressing as fuck.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Sometimes I might need to be like, turn down the exuberance just a little bit.
Yeah, it's hard though. Especially when you're excited about something.
I noticed that at a family function this weekend. I'm like, maybe I don't need to be so dialed up. Maybe they don't want that version.
I mean, it gives them something to talk about, right?
Yeah.
So,
like, all right, she's gone. Let's talk about the wildness.
Sorry, I'm very burpy today. I saw on your site that you do brand blueprints.
Yes.
And let me tell you, brand blueprints are the best. I don't think a lot of people know what they are. Can you give the listeners a rundown of what a brand blueprint is? Okay,
this is what a lot of people say to me. They'll be like, I have this business. I am like, I know who I serve and how I serve them, but I don't know what to say. And I'm just like, wait, you mean on your website? You mean on your social media? Like, I don't know what to say anywhere. So a brand blueprint.
It's hard.
Pardon my, I call it, what do I call it? A brand. I don't even remember. I named it something fancy. And now I can't remember. A roadmap. I don't. Okay. My brain is, we're like in the same seas universe today with the brains.
Brand messaging blueprints, what your website says.
Oh, okay. So. See, there you go. See, that's what I said. Just kidding. But it like helps you get clear on like your vision, your values, who you want to be talking to. And then like I like to go really specific on what those people are struggling with so that you do have like 10 things now you can actually say to them, and I also like include like people's bios and their backgrounds and like different ways to say your bio, different things to share in your content. So it's really like, it's basically like your roadmap, I guess, for your business on like what to share in different places. Sometimes people get them and they can like implement it onto their website from what they get. Sometimes they need to like say, okay, now can you take this and implement it onto my website? Like now this is a good foundation. Can you now add the copy to the website? So they're really fun. They take me like 2 hours of talking to the client and like really asking them like 20 million questions about who they are, why they started, what they love. Not just like, who do you think you are, but who do other people in your life say that you are? Because I find that to be helpful. And you would be surprised how many people answer through the context of like what they do for someone. So like I'm helpful, I'm supportive, I'm loyal. And I'm like, no, who are you? Like that's what you do for somebody else. So
then you get the deer in the headlights look.
Yeah.
I love them for I actually learned about them for the first time. I worked at a marketing company for a little bit, and just be able to set a consistency for the brand overall. So your color schemes, and then the blueprint can also lay out the hex codes and what's the one for printing codes? I forget.
RGB.
No, not the RGB. I forget what it is. It's
Pantone.
Pantone. Thank you. Pantones and then fonts. You can pick the fonts that you like to use, and like even like right down to the style of like photography. Like, do you want soft or do you want edgy, or do you want more just like artsy stuff? And so it's fun to do that, and it's nice for business owners and people that work for the business too to have to reference. So they're not just constantly double thinking like, okay, I have all this here. Like anyone that uses Canva might kind of understand this too, because Canva will start picking up your brand colors. And so you can kind of easily access those. So
you said it perfectly. And I forgot about the visual piece. Like I do the writing side of it, but the visual piece is exactly that. It's like a mood board for your brand. Whether it's a coffee mood board or a visual mood board, like and I feel like we could all do this. Like even if we don't have businesses, it would be so fun to do like, what's my personal kind of like vibe in this world, you know? So it's a reflection of who you are, and it's kind of like your filter for what you say yes to, what you say no to. It's awesome. Really awesome.
It really is. Yeah. And it really helps you stay consistent.
Yeah. And, you said, that word is like my favorite word.
Yeah.
Consistent.
Us neurodivergent people, I don't know if you are, but I certainly am. Consistency is like both something we live by and that we can never stick to. So,
okay. So I have a fun thing because the word consistency, I use a lot, but I think that people they confuse consistency with frequency. So like consistency for me isn't like I have to show up every day the same exact way. It just means I have to show up like when I said I wanted to. So like I just want to stay true to my own word, basically. Some days that's showing up 10%, right? Some days that's showing up like 5%. But it's really just like promising myself, like even if I don't want to do it, I'm going to stay consistent. But it doesn't mean every day. It doesn't mean every week. It doesn't mean every month. It doesn't mean, it can mean whatever you want it to mean for you. To your point of neurodiverse, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm just me. Sometimes I'm just a weirdo living my life.
I mean, weird is good.
Yeah.
I don't know what normal is, but I wouldn't want to be it.
Yeah, no, there's got to be a normal, but I don't think it would be enjoyable at all. I can't imagine. Yeah, you have to wonder, because there has to be a normal. Yes.
And so there's one person in the world, somewhere out there, that is completely normal. When you like combine everything, which is kind of weird to think about.
Imagine, it'd be like so boring.
I know.
There was a movie, I don't remember because I don't know pop culture, but there was a movie about like where the world was like all black and white, and then they started to see color on the TV. What was that movie? It's like the first one.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Something
Jake Gyllenhaal in it.
Yeah.
Pleasantville.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what it would be like. It'd be like the black and white in Pleasantville.
Yeah. definitely. I haven't thought about that movie in a hot minute. Memories.
Good job on the name. I never would have got that.
That's the thing. Like, sometimes my brain will just bring something up like that. And other times, nothing. Like, nothing.
But what gets me is I'm like, why did you choose that fact? Like, there's all this, like, actual relevant information that you need, like, why I walked into a room. But then you choose some random memory when I'm, like, 3 years old to keep in there. Like, hello, let's prioritize.
I know. I can tell you how many times I walked into a room, like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
And like I had an episode a few episodes back where I talked about meeting a girl named Natalie Knapp. And just because I saw her in a movie, I'm like, how the fuck do I know her? And I just fell into this rabbit hole and I wound up turning an episode about it. And we became friends. So
I love that.
Brains are weird. Brains are really weird. So moving on, let's see. I asked you like some topics you'd like to cover. So tell me about your passion for relationship building.
Also, if you don't, I mean, we can talk about whatever you want. So feel, yeah. My passion for relationship building. I guess, I don't know. Oh, I was like the kid that, so my parents, well, I'm not going to get into the whole backstory, but they had like books like on personality and like how to like win friends and influence people, like those kind of books. Okay. And as soon as I could read, I was just constantly reading, but I always wanted to read books like I wasn't allowed to read. So I'd go read like their marriage books and like their personality books and psychology books and stuff. I loved that stuff. So I just I think people is just something I've always been really, really curious in, like what makes other people tick and stuff. Mm-hmm. But specific as it relates to business, I mean, it goes to any part of life, right? But like when we're doing, as an entrepreneur, it's really, really lonely to be an entrepreneur. Like nobody that isn't a business owner can really understand. Like when you're like, yeah, I don't have that day off. They're like, wait, what? It's the 4th of July. Why don't you have that day off? I'm like, because I have work to do. Like,
yeah, we don't have days off.
Yeah, like you do, but you choose them and you take them and you do other things on that. Like you're still doing things all the time. Mm-hmm. It's always in your brain. So anyway, it's a lonely journey and it's a really great one. But I have just found in my own entrepreneurial journey that like finding people that are like either alongside me or ahead of me or like even behind me, like, and building those relationships, that's been the number one thing in helping my business grow. But I also think leaving me feeling filled as a business owner, and I think a lot of times we approach like social media and marketing and all of this stuff is just like, put my message out there. And we forget that there's actually like people on the other side that we can be like connecting with. Like you and I have already started like building a relationship. Mm-hmm. We met in a group, we emailed separate, and like we follow each other on social media. We can comment back to each other's stuff. Like it's little tiny simple things, but we get a sense of each other's humor, right? Like now I'll know if I hear something out in the world, it's going to make me think of you. I might send you a meme about it, right? Like
I
it's
love
like
memes.
I mean, I'm talking like digital right now, but like these are all just like really, really little simple things that help to build relationship. And I think the first place you just have to start, if like that feels important to you, is just a curiosity to know the person on the other side, and like listen and figure out what makes their brain tick, right? Like I love learning about your brain. I like when you tell me like the random workings of it. Like that's interesting to me. So it's just having like a genuine like curiosity in other people, that is like, I don't know a better way to say how do you build a relationship than that.
That's a really, really good way of putting it. And it's exceedingly important. And a lot of companies don't understand that. Like, good, solid businesses usually are really good at establishing relationships. Because in the end, we are all people and we just crave some sort of human connection.
Yeah.
And if you start taking it and just making it super sterile and taking any personality and vitality out of it, like, what are you even doing?
Yeah.
So, like with my clients, I try to create like friendships, acquaintanceships, whatever, joke around, and just to make the entire situation just more pleasant for everybody. But as I said, a lot of companies seem to forget about that and the importance of building relationships and communication. And we're not robots. You know, humans for some reason crave interaction with other humans. I don't get it.
It's the weirdest thing. It is the weirdest thing.
Yeah. Like you said, you didn't like working with people. I'm the same way. It's like, especially when you're in like retail sales and shit like that.
Let me clarify. I like working with the people I choose. Okay. So like with my clients and with like even collaborations like this, like we get to choose each other. It's like a mutual, it's like mutual trust, mutual respect. And then I say like mutual delight. Like I'm like, we're both excited. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I do like working with people when all three of those factors are involved. I don't like feeling like I'm in a fishbowl and people are just like, ooh, go look at the
Tap in the glass.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's for me not working with people. That's like, and they just kind of like, you know, you don't know what you're going to get, right? You're like, okay, I like being more selective in who I work with because it's because of my values and my mission and like what I really want to be doing in the world. So
it's kind of a mirror of the queer community. Like instead of like in the queer community, we say choose your own family. You make your own family. In your case, you're choosing your own clients.
Exactly.
Like, there are a lot of people I won't work with, like people of a certain hardcore political following, and I won't work with them for my safety and just I don't want to deal with their bullshit. So, it makes finding clients hard, but the ones that I do find are fucking incredible people. So, and then you actually look forward to working with them again.
Exactly.
Like the adage, the customer is always right, is just complete bullshit. Absolute complete bullshit. I was listening to a podcast about that. I forget which one. Like, since I joined the Feminist Podcasters Collective, like I've added all those shows to my Apple podcasts, and so they like automatically start playing whether I want to listen to that show or not. So that popped up on something, I think, but it's true. The customer is not always right.
I got asked I applied for a customer service job when I was like 16. I had no business applying for a customer service job at 16. I worked at like a pizza shop. I was like, okay, now I'll try to get a corporate job. One of the questions they asked me was, is the customer always right? And I'm like, yes. They were like, wrong answer. But you always have to act like they're right. I was like, wait, you didn't tell me this was like a nuanced question.
Yeah. I know it. I heard it on a YouTube channel that I listen to while I edit photos. It's called Mainly Facts. It's this fun pansexual bald guy that just reads stories off of Reddit.
Oh my God, that's so fun.
I love it. But that was one of them. And like, there's one, he was reading a story about one person whose job, like the owner had a sign up that said the customer is not always right. And they stuck to that. No one should put up with abuse.
No.
Just because you're a customer doesn't mean you're entitled, and you're not a customer until you've actually paid technically. So.
I think that's something I've had to learn in my business is like how to set boundaries, like both with my time, with money, with expectations, like just like really setting clear boundaries, clear expectations, and being okay with being like, yeah, you trampled this. Like we're not going we're not going collaboratively here, right? Like now we need to come back. So, and I think most of the time when you do it with kindness, like people are gracious and they're not like, I've never had one lady argue with me. That's it.
Never say never.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Boundaries, like bringing that up is actually very important. We've really strayed from copywriting, but whatever.
That's okay.
This is life advice for people. That's why people listen to the show, maybe. I don't know. But boundaries are so important in business too. Like I ran into it yesterday. I've fallen into a habit of like a number of houses I photographed lately have been really cool. And I price my photography in packages, like 20 photos, 30 photos, whatever. But I keep finding myself like taking a bunch extra, and I still want to edit them all. But then I don't feel right charging for all those extra photos that I did. So like last night I was, a couple of days ago, I wound up doing like 20 more photos than what I was charging for. And I got so fucking burnt out, and there's no reason for me to be doing it. It's just, I feel like I have to in order to capture everything. But if a client's willing to pay for more, then it's why I need to just start charging for it. But that's a boundary. And my northern girlfriend, I have a northern girlfriend, a southern girlfriend, for people wondering. Northern girlfriend's local, southern is, Jenny, she's on the show. Last night she's like, you need to set boundaries just for your mental health, because I was so burnt out on editing the past couple of days. I was just dragging ass. Usually 30 photos will take me about an hour and a half to edit. And I was like 6 hours in. Like, I was hyper focused on everything. And it's because, as you said, like, if you don't set boundaries, then you start
resenting.
Yeah, resenting and just losing your way. So,
and people will if you let them trample them, they're going to trample them, and often they don't even do it intentionally, I don't think, or maliciously. They just, like, if I give somebody an open gate, they're going to walk through it, right?
Yeah.
I had some ideas for you. So on like 3 things you could do to put a boundary in place with that. One is you could send them the, just edit like a certain number, however many you promised them. And then say, I actually ended up taking like about 30 more, and I would, I can send you those as well for X amount more. The other thing you could do is you could have a bigger package, right? So like create another tier where there's more photos, and then they get those.
And I have one of those too.
Okay, good. And then the third thing is like just save those pictures and keep them for yourself and use them for your own social media, your own marketing, your own promotion. Those are yours. Like these are mine.
Yeah. That's another thing for people to remember. When you create things, like when you create when other photographers, you own those photos. The people that you take the photos for don't own them. You do. They're renting them from you. And be sure you make that clear. I have it right on my invoice. All properties remain, all photos remain the property of Vanessa Joy. By paying for this invoice, you're getting access to use them for marketing.
I would be curious to see what other copywriters do. I specifically tell them I don't own this because I don't want to be, first of all, I write for like a lot of the same kind of client, like a ton of interior designers. And I would never want them to think I like copied and pasted from somebody else. But second of all, I want them to know, like, now it's yours and you get to do what you want with it. I do keep a copy because I'm organized.
Yeah. This is good for your portfolio.
I know what people do to their files sometimes. But yeah, I would be so curious, like what it's fascinating to me because I didn't know that about photographers, that you own the pictures. So I'd just be so interested to know like what other industries do around that.
Yeah.
Like podcast producers. Do they keep is it theirs? Or is it the podcasters? So fascinating. Like these questions and more will not be solved today.
Like producers as in like the software we're doing it on, like Riverside, or the person? So like, let's say you had a producer, like you had like somebody edit it and do all the cut and like add the music and whatever things they do and release it. Like, do they own the podcast or do you, the podcaster, own the podcast? I mean, that's a very good question. Like, if anyone listening knows the answer, please phone in 1-800 999 7421. Dial down the center, 1-800 call ATT. Because that's actually can spark something. When this podcast first started, it was a collaborative effort between myself and a few other LinkedIn connections, and I wasn't even the one that named it. I can't remember if it was Tara or Liam that named it. If they're listening, maybe they'll tell me. But like it started off as like a collaboration. I wasn't on every episode. I was doing the editing and stuff like that for it, the production behind the scenes. But like we had more hosts, and every week it was completely different with different hosts and stuff. And it wasn't like this format that it is now. And then people just started to kind of like lose interest in it. And I dropped it to once every 2 weeks instead of every week, which I'm back to every week now. And I'm like we have a Discord channel, and that got really quiet. I'm like, I don't want this show to die. And by trying to keep it as a collaborative effort, getting everybody's schedule together is just a pain, because like everyone's a professional doing their own jobs in different time zones, different parts of the world, whatever. So I wound up just taking over the show, and now I consider this my show. But is it?
I think it is. Yeah. Change of guards there.
But there's no like actual intellectual property with it.
You actually brought up something really interesting, which I think that we think that like collaborating with other people is going to be easier. But I mean, I like to work alone, but I think that collaboration, it is the harder way to go in a lot of cases. It's well worth it. Like it definitely like increases your efforts and increases your reach and, you know, all of those wonderful benefits. But I think that is definitely something that people overlook, is like, and that's why it's important to choose a collaborator that like the values are the same as you. They are as committed as you are, right? Like they're as excited to show up as you, because it takes a lot of energy to like come together and do something together. So
it does. It really does. And that's, now I have it set up, where in our Discord, I'm just posting like, here are the recording dates on, because I used to like just try to, okay, well, when can you record? When can you record? And it's always fine. Then sometimes I'd show up, then no one would be there. So now like throughout July, I had guests last week, guests coming up. And so now I just have them scheduled, and I'm like, I can have one co-host on each episode. If you would like to be a co-host, just heart react this, and then I'll schedule it with you. But because you have to kind of keep it simple, stupid, you know? And it's fun to try to be collaborative and collaborative. That's a hard word too. And when you can do it, it's great. But then you always have to remember that people are going to get burnt out. People are going to get bored. Life circumstances change, and that's perfectly fine. But if you have passion for something and you can take ownership, do it.
Yeah. And I would say don't let a collaborator's lack of interest or lack of energy, like, you know, if you are still interested in doing it and excited to do it, keep it going, you know? Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
It's fun to take some ownership too. So, agreed. Doing the show, I've taught myself video editing. I've taught myself about recording, sound design, and more web design. I've already done it before. But yeah, you can just learn so much when you take on a project. That is one thing I'll say about entrepreneurship. Like, you learn a lot. It is a fast track education, not just about like the stuff you just said, like website and market. I mean, you do have to learn to market. Like every business has to market themselves. So when people start businesses and become entrepreneurs, they're also signing up to be marketers, you know? And in some cases, web designers and like copywriters, like you end up learning a lot. And I also think you end up learning like a lot about yourself. Like I have never come up against like my own inner demons, for lack of a better word, like the blocks that are really like, wow, that is not good. Until I was a business owner, you know, like it just increases your self-awareness, I think, so much. And like you have to overcome stuff or it's going to impact your revenue and your finances and maybe the roof over your head. Who knows? So that's one of the main things I have advice-wise for people starting a business is don't quit your day job at first. Yeah. Oh my God. Thank you. Learn what you're doing first. Yeah. Because it's hard. I had a foot in the door in doing it because I ran a small business for a long time. I didn't own it, but I essentially owned it without having ownership. So I know you've had experience doing it before too. So you know. But still there's unexpected things. Like in my case, when I came out, my business died completely.
Yeah.
And that's not something I could have expected. So all my income died, and I still haven't, it's been 3 years and I still haven't gotten it back. But so you have to be ready for all of those just what ifs. But the rewarding side of it is fucking amazing. You get to be your own boss. If you want to suddenly just fuck off halfway through a day and go get a margarita, you can do it. You know, there's something to be said for that. Oh wow, it's been 50 minutes, so we should probably start to get to the wrap up. So when people hire you, like, do you have like a scope, a range of scopes that you take on for projects? Do you do like individual pages on a website all the way up to like creating an entire everything, or how does it work?
Yeah, I try not to do individual pages because of your word before, cohesion. I want everything to sound the same and feel the same. Sometimes past clients will come get one page like added on, which I love doing that because like we've already built that. But and I just did this awesome one-page website. Like it's just a one page, but it says everything for this New Jersey meatball company. Like it was so much fun. As she pronounces it, meatballs.
Meatballs.
It was very fun. So, but usually like the websites, we do like 3 to 5 pages. And then I have some web designers that will do like 10, 15 page websites because they're doing portfolio pages for realtors or interior designers, which is super fun. I love those because then we get like so much content, you know, like not just website copy, but also like stuff they can use on social. And then from there, I do lots of like strategy sessions. So like helping people figure out what to say on social media or figure out what to say in like, well, sometimes we'll just sit and like workshop something together. And then the brand messaging guides. And I have like little services here and there. Like if somebody needs a bio, you know, or I'll always take on something special if it's the right person. Like I have this local builder and he can ask me to do anything he wants to do. And I'm like, yes, because he is a great person. You know, like it's all about like him as a person. But like some people ask me to do things. I'm like, oh, I don't do that. No, thank you.
Like,
like him, I'd like drive to somebody's like newly built house and be like, I am the photographer. Like I would just do anything.
When you find people like that to have in your life, hold on to them because that's huge.
Yeah. But most of the time it's like people do like a website plus build in whatever other like pieces they're working on, you know. So I love when somebody like, you know, to your point before of like don't quit your day job. I also think like when you're starting a business, you often don't even know what you don't know yet. Like you don't even know your message. You don't know, you're not clear on everything. So like, I always say like, let's start small and then we can always like build, we can always grow, we can always change. But like when people are just like all in at the very beginning, I'm like, oh my God, you're going to change so many things in like 2 years.
Yeah. And you can doom yourself really easily doing that.
Yeah.
Like, as you said, start slow.
Yeah.
And learn as you go. When you said you don't know what you don't know, that is like, if anything sums up small business ownership,
I know,
in a nutshell, it's that phrase.
I'm doing a podcast on the things I wish I knew before I started a business soon. I think it's 2 weeks from now, but even after doing the episode, I was like, damn it, there were like so many things that I wanted to include because I've made a lot of mistakes where I just like jump into something and I'm like, oh boy, that happened. Like I just go for it and then find out the hard way that I hate it. And so I kind of did that with this podcast. No, I don't hate the podcast. I just jumped into it and then I was like, oh my God, there's like 20 more million things I would have added. So
yeah, it's hard.
It's not proper English.
It's so hard to keep it all. No, fuck proper English. You're talking right now. You're not getting paid to write. Well, windy out there. Sorry. I just looked outside and there's a fly going crazy. So like people want to hire you. Do you price like by the hour, by the package, by service?
Everything is by the package unless it's like unless it's a service that like fits into a nice tidy little box, which I only have a couple of. So those are like little tune-ups things and then the brand messaging guide. But yeah, most things are by project. And I love that. And would encourage, like, it's different industries need to price themselves in different ways, but it really, really works with me because it's an advantage to the client where, like, they're getting my best work at my most excited and creative level. And I'm also being, like, compensated for what I'm doing. So,
yeah. And they don't have to worry about an unexpected bill, that kind of thing.
Right. Exactly. And I know, like, I can take on this many projects at a time. So I don't, like, overbook myself and just go nuts. Like, I don't know how much money I'm getting this month. So I have to, like, schedule 10 different clients, It's very, like, okay, I have 3 and that's it.
Yeah. That is one of the scariest parts of having your own business, is never knowing when your next paycheck's coming from.
I know.
So people, I'm going to give you a chance at the end of the episode to, like, plug all your stuff, but I would highly suggest anybody that has their own company, that's starting their own company, look at Emily's brand messaging blueprints, brand blueprints. Those really help. Yeah, especially if you can establish, you can always edit them in the future too. But if you can establish yourself and make yourself remembered by things as simple as colors and the word choices that you use, stuff like that, just themes, people will remember you for that. So, like, I think we've talked in previous episodes, when you think, what company do you think of when you think of the color pink? Like
Barbie?
Yeah, Barbie or T-Mobile or, like, Victoria's Secret or something.
Yeah.
So, but they can, like, pop that in your head. So, I don't know if storm's coming or what's going on. Anyways, so I told you about this ahead of time. I want to try something new.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
At the end of episodes, I was like, my co-host Jess, they always do when they're hosting, they always do an icebreaker. I'm like, well, what can I do? My brain isn't going to be able to figure out an icebreaker. I just looked to my left and I have a box of Cards Against Humanity over there. Like, that'd be fun. So I opened it up and just found all the black cards in it. And so what I'm thinking we do is we each get a card.
Yep.
And I guess I'm also kind of stealing this from Nikki the Death Doula. Sorry, Nikki, with your cards at the end, but it's a good idea.
Nikki loves it. It's a compliment. It's flattery.
She'll be on the show in a few weeks.
Okay, I think you should go first and show me how it's done.
I don't even know how it's done. This is going to be the first time, but yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick cards. For me, I'm just going to grab one at random. I'm not going to look at it. I'm just going to set it down. And how I was seeing for, like, you, like, here's the deck.
Yeah.
And just tell me, like, 25%, 50%, somewhere through the deck to pull it.
Can you see the crack on the top?
The crack on the top.
Oh, it moved now. Oh, yeah. No, I can see a nice crack. Okay,
right
go where
here?
that first crack is. Yeah.
This one?
Yeah. I might go to the next crack, but that's okay. It doesn't matter.
The next crack?
See that? Yeah, that's
right
the one.
here.
That was the one I had my eye on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now, do you want the card on the bottom or the top?
Oh my God, that's a big question. Okay, well, bottom. I need the coin.
We're learning some stuff about you.
I think I learned what here's my sheltered secret. I think I learned what a bottom was from Cards from Humanity.
It's
I was playing with my friends, and I was like, "Wow, yep, first time for everything."
I didn't really know what it was until fairly recently too. So, okay, my card, your card.
Okay.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
So what we're gonna do is we have to come up with something. We're gonna use the prompt on the back of the card, and then come up with a response to it. So, like the response, like what you would pick a white card from Cards Against Humanity for.
Okay.
And it can be anywhere from G-rated all the way up to the most filthy shit you can think of.
Okay.
So
but
for
then
me,
I can't share the episode with my mom if it's filthy.
Well, then you can choose what you want to do.
I don't share episodes with my mom anyway.
I don't talk to my mom. She's a see you next Thursday. But so, okay, mine is I am going on a cleanse this week. Nothing but kale juice, and I wonder if it's going to reverse this.
Oh my God, that's fun. Yeah, it did. It did.
Nothing but kale juice and oh fuck, I just got a good one. So when I ran that manufacturing company, there was a guy that would like drink a bottle of like Lipton iced tea, and then he would use it as both a spittoon and an ashtray. So my cleanse is nothing but kale juice and the whatever nasty shit that was in the bottom of that bottle, mix of like chewing tobacco and cigarette butts and spit and a little bit of tea.
Why would you inflict that upon yourself?
It popped into my head.
You could have had kale juice and Milky Ways.
But what's the fun?
I know. I'm teasing. I'm just teasing. Okay. I love your answer. That's awesomely disgusting.
It is. Okay. You ready for yours?
Yes.
All right. I got 99 problems, but blank ain't one.
A kale juice cleanse. There you go.
That's a very good one.
Full circle.
Yeah. Like
kale juice cleanse ain't one. My sister-in-law and I were just talking about this. Like, we're done with that crap.
There's no real point in any of it.
Yeah, we've already levitated and like found our, inner guidance. We're done with the kale.
If you want to be healthy, just don't eat like shit. So
yeah, exactly.
Eat less calories. So
I do love kale though, and kale chips. For the record, for all the listeners, kale.
Okay, well, if you want to get Emily a gift, send kale. You're going to regret that. Like, someone's going to listen to this and send like a pallet full of something. Like, what the fuck is this? And your husband's going to be like, I've heard of stalkers, but like people sending kale. Like, welcome to Trump's America. Okay.
I think it's actually pronounced America, just for future reference.
Fuck yeah, America. With the C part is actually 3 Ks. I'm not very patriotic. Anyone that follows my social media, I'm on my Facebook and on Threads, but on the street I live on, they went through and planted these big American flags in everyone's front yard. And though if they've served in a various military branch, they get that one. But I'm like, what the Star Spangled bullshit is this? Like, a lot of us in the trans community, the American flag is actually very traumatic to see. And when I was driving down the street, just being surrounded by these things, it was like being surrounded by hate, which sucks. That should not be. We should not have to be afraid of the flag of the country that we live in.
Okay, Vanessa, if I send you a thank you card, which I'm going to ask them for a different stamp, because I have all these freedom stamps and I'm really annoyed by them. Like, I'm like, I don't want these. Like, I feel weird sending them to people. I'm like,
I know.
I hope this is okay.
I wish there'd be a more creative stamp for freedom stamps.
Yeah. But I'm going to get you you're going to get a special stamp.
Well, thank you.
I'll pay 45 cents or whatever. I think it's 45 cents.
Almost 60 cents for a stamp.
What are we even doing? This is why we need to raise our prices. We need to raise our prices.
I know. All right. Okay. So this Cards Humanity game.
This was fun.
Course.
Do you want to? Should we do?
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
Like, should we get one more card?
Well, I was going to do the wrap up. Do you want to do another card?
I don't know. What's the wrap up? Is that another exciting?
It's where you're gonna sell your stuff and tell people where to find you and shit like that.
Oh, okay. Then we should do one more card. Just for
one more card.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll let you choose both of them this time. You chose. Okay. I liked your choice better than mine.
So you think this is a game worth doing on future episodes?
Yes, it's so fun.
Okay, cool.
It puts people on the spot, gives them just enough,
enough stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so I got one card and 2 cards. Do you want my right or left?
Right.
Right? Okay. Your card. Blank. High five, bro. That's a hard one.
Transcending Humanity. High five, bro.
Get something on your nose, girl. And my dog is licking your twat. Stop it.
Oh, wow. The time.
Yeah, I know. I look over there and and for mine, what are my parents hiding from me? And I've always thought, like, for the longest time, that one of them isn't my real parent. Though, I mean, I look like both of them, but whose child am I?
Get yourself on 23andMe.
I am. That's okay. The thing. Like, I found a bunch of my mother's side on there, and then a shit ton of like second cousins I've never heard of, and no one on my dad's side. But I look like my dad, like from the profiles. So, but I look like my mom from the front.
Oh, you know what you can do? Your dad, would he take a paternity test?
Oh, he's dead.
And I was going to say, excuse me if this is an insensitive question because he's passed on. So
it's not insensitive. I tell people about that selfish piece of shit stuff all the time. So
okay, so that's not the way we're going to find out. You get relatives closer to you on 23andMe. It just takes time sometimes. Like that's how I found my dad, honestly.
Really?
23andMe.com. Yep.
I did it on Ancestry DNA. I wonder if they share.
No, they do not. So you actually have some people are crazy like me and take all the tests, but then some people only take Ancestry, some people only take 23andMe. So you actually end up with like different people in different places. Like my cousin's on Ancestry, not on 23andMe, for example.
Oh, well, maybe I'll do 23andMe then.
Yeah, do that.
See?
Got to put that DNA out there.
Yeah, I know.
Get your DNA into the hands of others. That's our takeaway for today.
There's no privacy left in this world, so
no, I agree. That's why I went for it.
So, some final thoughts. Do you have anything? Final thing before you start promoting your shit? I'm like,
final thing
you want to get out there
is just that this was fun, and this was a great example of like what collaboration can look like. You know, we each bring something to the table, and also the person listening hopefully got something enjoyable. Hopefully, you did, didn't you? You did.
Oh, they did. Whether or not they did, and if you did, subscribe to the Patreon.
Yes,
Patreon.com/Transcending Humanity. And Emily, you have one too, right?
Oh no, I don't. Yeah.
We have a podcast at least. So.
Yes.
Well, then let's do your plugs. Like, where can we find you? How do they hire you?
Okay.
Whatever.
Since you're already listening to a podcast, you can find content with character on any of the podcast platforms that you listen to, as well as YouTube. I just put it on YouTube. Yay, me.
Oh, you did?
I'd say the easiest way to like find everything and like what links are specific to you is just emilyaborn.com. And that's like acorn with a B. And that's it.
That's easy. That's really easy. Yeah.
I'm the only Emily Aborn.
Really?
True. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
What are the odds of that?
Although, yes. And my sister-in-law stole my old name, actually. Her name is Emily, and she took my name, so I handed that off.
Oh, you're just passing it on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it turns out there's a big photographer out there named Vanessa Joy. And I didn't know that when, like, Joy isn't a surname that I would have chosen, but I needed to for legal reasons. But Vanessa's name I just always wanted. But then it turns out there's another big photographer named Vanessa Joy. So I imagine she gets some confusing messages.
It seems like a common, or, Joy just seems like something I would combine with Vanessa, but I like it personally. It makes me feel happy, and it matches your purple vibe like super well. So
I definitely went full purple today.
Yeah.
So I had to reapply some of it because I had a photo gig before this and I sweated all off even with setting spray. Well, this was fun. This is very educational. Like it's kind of 1-2 punch with you, and then last week with Jana in her branding and photography. So you two should get together.
Yes.
Yeah. She's the anti-corporate brand photographer.
Does she have a podcast?
No, she doesn't.
Oh.
But she should.
I'll look her up.
Yeah. Yeah, if you follow me on Instagram, she actually just tagged me in a reel today. She was on the show last week. But the two of you, between the visual and the writing, you might be able to make some magic happen.
Match made in heaven.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And this was fun. And yeah, for everyone else listening, next week, I have Chloe Milligan. I think it's, well, sorry, Chloe, if you're listening to this, I should know your name by now. Chloe Milligan is going to be our guest. And I have a guest host, Kate Brattle from the Legal Burnouts, is going to be guest hosting. And we're going to be talking to Chloe about being usually, so Emily, this show, I'm hardcore atheist, and a lot of our hosts are fairly anti-religious as well. But I know that we have to have some listeners of faith, be it one faith or another. And so Chloe is a strong Christian, leftist Christian, and she happens to be trans too. So we're going to be talking about the burnout and the ups and downs of life that she feels, which should be a pretty interesting conversation.
So I really want to listen.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one. I'm really excited for that one. So
a leftist trans Christian. Yes, I want to listen.
Yeah, it's something you don't hear of much. Like, I've been following her for a while, and I'm like, boy, that can't be easy. So I'm curious to learn more about her. But
maybe you could get listener questions beforehand and see if anybody has anything they want you to ask. If you felt comfortable with that. I'm not telling you what to do with your show. I just have a question for her.
Oh, well, if you have a question for her, just ask it through me.
Okay. I'll ask it off air so that we can keep them in mystery.
There you go. All right. I will see you all next week on Transcending Humanity. And yeah, $2.
Bye. Thank you.
Where is the end? Oh, there it is.